Today for 10th standard we are going to continue with the chapter on nervous system. In the last class we are discussing about the brain, and in brain we were discussing about the midbrain. Though midbrain you do not have to study because midbrain is not in the course, but still you have to know that what the midbrain consists of. The midbrain consists of actually the crura cerebri and the cerebral peduncles, and also there is a portion called the superior and the inferior colliculi. Now we'll start with the after the midbrain is the pons. The pons is the bulging brainstem region wedged between the midbrain and the medulla oblongata. And you know that as the name suggests, pons is chiefly composed of conduction tracts. These fibers pathway courses in two-way direction to the pons. Now the deep projection fibers run longitudinally and complete the superior and the inferior pathway between the higher brain centers and the spinal cord. That means pons is actually a type of, you can say, a relay center between the brain, the higher centers of the brain and the spinal cord region. Now pons is actually, if you see the dorsal side you have the cerebellum and the ventral side you have the pons. Pons actually correlates the two functions of the cerebral hemisphere. Now the next part of the pons is the medulla oblongata, and the medulla oblongata is the region where we have most of the involuntary activities controlled by these centers, and you know that there are three main chief regions. One is the autonomics, all the autonomic activities, they are controlled here. You have the vasomotor region which controls the vasodilation and vasoconstriction. You have the cardiac center which controls the heartbeat, and you have the respiratory centers which controls the breathing. Okay, and so this is the main function, three main functions of the medulla oblongata. And you must be knowing that this injury to the medulla oblongata can cause death. Usually, hanging by death occurs because this medulla oblongata, when a person is hanged, usually a process from the axis vertebra that goes and pierces the medulla oblongata, which causes the death of the centers of the brain which controls the heartbeat and the respiration. So before a person dies out of respiration or dies out of stopping of the heartbeat, the main center of the nervous system, that is being destroyed due to hanging. So that is the process, because this is the most vital center which controls all the important involuntary activities of the brain. In the posterior part of the brain, the most important part of the brain is the cerebellum, and cerebellum is a solid lobe which is not like the the cerebrum, which has the ventricles in it. So the cerebellum main function is balancing, and usually the solid parts of the cerebellum, usually also the left and the right cerebellar lobes, controls the coordination of the skeletal muscles. That means when we walk, suppose we move our left hand with the right leg and the right hand with the left leg. So this coordination, all coordinated movements between the left side and the right side is controlled by the cerebellum. So the anatomy of the cerebellum says, you will see there is a region between the two cerebellar lobes. At the posterior part there's a connection, and that is called the vermis. Vermis comes from the word vermin, which is like a worm. So it's worm-like, that's why it is called the vermis. You can see here the diagram of the cerebellum. This is the actual cerebellum lobes. This is the original cerebellum lobes of the human. So this is as you see the left cerebellar lobes and the right cerebellar lobes. This is the region of the vermis, which is actually connection between the right and the left cerebellum. Now, so the function of the cerebellum is mainly, as I told you, the balancing. So usually in case of people, those who are influenced of drugs or influence of alcohol, usually alcohol inhibits the working of the cerebellum, and that is why a person loses his balance when he is heavily drunk. The balancing organ does not work as because of the inhibition of the cerebellum. Now the cerebellum also, as I told you, it controls the movement. The next most important structure that we are going to study is about the spinal cord. The spinal cord is a long, about 25 centimeter in length, and it is originates from where the brain lives. The spinal cord leaves the brain through the foramen magnum, and it goes till almost between the lumbar 2 and lumbar 3 vertebra. It stops here. So this length from the base of the brain till the lumbar vertebra 2 and 3, in between 2 and 3, that length is called the spinal cord. Beyond the lumbar vertebra, the spinal cord does not extend. It is about 35 grams in weight, but it is one of the most vital part of the brain. As you know, it's part of the central nervous system. Now, here in the spinal cord, the distribution of the gray matter and the white matter is just reverse to that of the you can see the diagram here. You see this particular diagram, you will see the gray matter is inside. This is the diagram. This is the dorsal side of the spinal cord, and this is the ventral side of the spinal cord. The spinal cord runs long like this inside the neural canal of the vertebra. So you can see here, this is the gray matter which is showing the inner part of the spinal cord, and this is the white matter which is showing the outer part of the spinal cord. So this is the central canal through which the cerebrospinal fluid, you know, the brain, inside the brain cerebrum also cerebrospinal fluid is present, and it runs all through the third ventricle, fourth ventricle, the first and second ventricle till this through the center of the spinal cord. It also surrounds the spinal cord also. So all those nerves which are coming, you know, this is called the anterior horns, and this is called the posterior horns. And this is the gray matter which is located inside. In brain, the gray matter will be outside and the white matter is inside. And here you can see this is the dorsal root and this is the ventral root. So all the sensory nerve comes through the dorsal root and enters here. And here you have the association neuron. The neurons which escape from here is the the ventral root. Those are all the motor neurons. Now we come to that later on. You can see this particular diagram. This is showing the structure of the spinal cord. This is a little bit more clear, you can see. So here is the sensory neuron. You can see it is mostly found in the skin or in the internal organ. This is the receptor here. The sensory neuron passes through this. Here you have the dorsal root ganglion because it is entering to the dorsal side, and here is the axon. So the axon is here. This is the cyton and this is the dendron. It looks like a bipolar neuron, but the dendron is extended and this is the axon. Here the cyton of the association neuron is there. This is the axon of the association neuron. Here you have the cyton of the the motor neuron, and this is the axon. Axon is ending in the muscles or the glands of the organ. So usually all the sensory action is traveling in this part. The sensation comes like this, goes through this dorsal root and enters here. Then it passes on to the association neuron, and from the association neuron it goes through the motor neuron to the muscles and the gland. So here you have the action, you get the reaction here. Now how is the spinal cord connected to the brain? So from at this junction, actually in this particular gray matter, some nerves go towards the brain which we call the ascending tract, and some neurons come from the brain to this synapse here in this meeting point which we call the descending tract. So sometimes whenever the message has to be consulted to the brain, the neuron sent the message like this. From here it can go to the ascending tract to the brain, and from the brain the message comes back through the descending tract at this portion, and the motor neuron responds like this. So it is on both the sides you have this type of. So these are mostly the spinal nerves. These nerves are the spinal nerves, and these are the neuron. So as a spinal nerve contains a sensory and a motor neuron together, a spinal nerve is always said to be a mixed nerve. So there are different types of neurons are there. So sensory neurons are those with neurons which sends carries the message from the organ to the CNS, and the motor neurons are there, those which carry the message from the CNS to the organ. So this is how it passes through the spinal cord. Now you have the peripheral nervous system, and in the peripheral nervous system we are going to study it later on. Thank you very much. We'll take up in the next class.